Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Financial with another installment of Shared Trade Spotlight. And today we'll be looking at the Frightful Four shared trait from the Fantastic Four set. First off, who are the Frightful Four? The Frightful Four are a quartet, usually, of supervillains that tend to plague the Fantastic Four together. Separately, they've also been members of other organizations such as the Intelligentsia, the Sinister Syndicate, AIM, the Masters of Evil, the Lethal Legion. You get the idea. There are also some non-native, some members that are not native to Earth. But anyway, to be fair, the Frightful Four is kind of generally the kind of villains who, on a good day, are considered B-listers. They have had their moments. Generally, a writer will decide, you know what, I'm going to take pity on these guys just once. I'll actually show why they're a threat. And obviously, with there being four of them, well, yeah, they're enemies of the Fantastic Four. But I will admit, I was not expecting much from the Frightful Four sub-theme in the Fantastic Four set. I honestly was figuring that maybe one or two of them might go above 50 points cost-wise, and maybe a couple would have maybe there'd be one or two that had a really good dial, but nothing crazy. Instead, WizKids actually went all out, and we got a pretty amazing shared trait for the Frightful Four. Now the trait generally works like this. Each member, most of the members have a trait that says Frightful Four, then a quote. And it will be either a unique modifier, which somehow modifies modifies combat values, or it'll grant a power to friendly characters with the Frightful Four keyword. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the Frightful Four, starting off with Thundra. Thundra is one of those characters who's kind of been all over the place as a Marvel character. She's been a hero, she's been a villain. I kind of think that the main thing is no one really knows what to do with her. I mean, hell, if I was writing Marvel books, I would probably not be in any hurry at all to use Thundra in anything, because I don't know the character, and I have no idea what to do with her. Anyways, so Thundra, as with most of the Frightful Four, comes in at 75 points. She has the Femizons, Frightful Four, Lady Liberators, Future, and Warrior keywords. Then we've got the Frightful Four trait in individual combat. During opponent's turns, friendly characters with the Frightful Four keyword modify defense +1 for each attack that's resolved that turn. This doesn't affect the first attack, though. Looking at her dial, we get some charge followed by some flurry, some super strength, which gives way to Quake, then Blaze Claw's Fangs. She's got Indomitable, but always a good thing. Impervious and Vulnerability and Toughness. Then on damage, we have a special power, Combat Chain. Gives her giant reach of 2, and when she makes a close attack, after resolutions, you may place a hit character in a square adjacent to Thundra. Okay, alright. Not too shabby. Next up, we've got the Trapster, who swears he's always been the Trapster. Never was he called Paste Pot Pete. The Trapster's thing is super sticky glue. He comes in at 75 points. He has the Minions of Doom team ability, which when he KOs a standard opposing character after resolutions, you can heal it one click on a friendly character using the team ability. Okay. So the Frightful Four, Intelligentsia, Magia, Sinister Syndicate, and Science keywords. We've got a trait, Nope, I've always been Trapster, which gives him plasticity. And that's always a nice thing to have, because traded plasticity can keep someone good and tied up for a good long while. Then his Frightful Four trait, Ocelopasta Insect, unique modifier. During your turn, opposing characters modify defense -1 for each attack made by a character with a Frightful Four keyword that's resolved that turn. Doesn't affect the first attack, though. Okay. Looking at his dial, we get a few clicks of running shot, followed by a few clicks of sidestep. Full run on attack of the special power, things are about to get real messy. Gives an incapacitate, and when he uses it, you may generate a paste marker in each hit target square. Characters occupying paste markers must break away as if they were adjacent to Trapster. When no character occupies a paste marker, remove it. And if you'll notice, he's got 6 range and 3 targets. So he's got triple target incapacitate, and he can basically force an incapacitated character to have to break away as if they were adjacent to a character with plasticity. Next up, on defense, we open up some willpower, which then gives way to barrier. On damage, we start off with nothing, but he clicks into some mid to late dialed perplex. Not too shabby. Next up, we've got Medusa of the Inhuman Royal Family. This is from before Medusa was the Queen of the Inhumans. But as I recall, she was brainwashed into working with the Frightful Four in one of their early appearances. So Medusa comes in at 75 points as the Minions of Doom team ability, as well as improved movement, ignores elevated hindering terrain. Her traits, keyword-wise, we have the Frightful Four and Inhumans keywords. Trait-wise, we have the Malevolent Mane of Meta Medusa, which grants her plasticity and giant reach of 4. Opposing characters within 4 squares in line of fire consider Medusa adjacent for the purposes of breaking away. That's nice. Then her Frightful Four trait, Impenetrable Disguises. Friendly characters with the Frightful Four keyword can use Shape Change, which kind of makes her very necessary for the team. Looking at her dial, we get some stealth, followed by a couple of charge and some sidestep. We get some opening telekinesis, which is always useful. Some quake, and then some Blade's Claw's Fangs. Defensively speaking, we've got some combat reflexes, followed by a large chunk of super senses. Damage, we open with some close combat expert, which then gives way to Empower. Okay, not a bad combination in the slightest. Next up, we've got She-Thing. She-Thing, like most of the others, comes in at 75 points. She has the Fantastic Four, Frightful Four, and Monster keywords. And she has the trait Frightful Four if you don't want me. Unique modifier. Friendly characters with the Frightful Four keyword modify damage +1 when attacking only characters that share a keyword with them. Okay, alright. Very useful if you're going up against, say, an Inhumans team, or a Sinister Syndicate team, or a Masters of Evil team, or an Intelligentsia team, so on and so forth. Looking at She-Thing's dial, on speed there we open the special power, Coming After Those That Hurt Me, which grants her Leap Climb, and when she uses it after resolution, she may make a close attack. And it's not if she moves, 5 squares or less, simply when she uses it. That thing gives way to Sidestep. We've got a nice block of Super Strength, followed by a couple clicks of Quake. I will say this, that Super Strength is nice, but it doesn't. I don't believe it. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think you can carry. Well, she will still generate the knockback if she hits an opposing character. I don't think she could pick up an object and make an object attack with that Leap Climb attack, close attack from the Leap Climb. Defensively speaking, we've got Indomitable, which then gives way to a couple. Power-wise, we've got some Impervious, followed by Invincible, and some Vulnerability. On damage, we open up with a couple of Toughness, which then gives way to a block of Close Combat Expert. That Battle Fury would be very helpful against anybody with Shape Change, including, say, a Frightful Four team with running with an opposing Frightful Four team running Medusa. And that close combat expert would also come in handy later on, especially since she has it, since all of her sidestep clicks include it. Next up, we've got Claw. I love the sculpt. It's so simple, yet it nails the character. Like we all talk. A lot of us that play, get all, we get all excited for an amazing and dynamic sculpt that is so intricate and complicated. But I think sometimes we forget about those times when a sculpt can be simple and perfect. And I think Claw is one of those occasions. Anywho, Claw comes in at 75 points. He has the Masters of Evil team ability, granting him colossal stamina. We've got the AIM, Frightful Four, Masters of Evil, and Scientist keywords, as well as 2 traits. First off is Overwhelming Blast of Sound. When Claw is KO'd, roll a d6. On a 4 through a 6, deal 2 penetrating damage to all opposing characters within 4 squares. Okay. Then he does Frightful Four trait, Sonic Wave. Friendly characters with the Frightful Four keyword can use Inner Shield Deflection. Now, it does not state other. It simply says friendly characters. So, that would mean, since you're always friendly to yourself, he has basically traded Inner Shield Deflection. He also gets it later on the dial, which makes it a little kinky, in my opinion. Speaking of his dial, let's take a quick look. We've got a couple clicks of phasing, some mid to late dial running shot, followed by a final click of phasing. We get some mid to late dial pulse wave on attack. Defensively speaking, we open up with a special power, Can't Touch Us, which grants Claw barrier and invulnerability. When Claw uses barrier, he may count range and draw a line of fire from the square of a friendly character with the Frightful Four keyword. And that character need not be within his range or line of fire. He can simply count range and line of fire from them. Then we get some super senses, followed by a click of Energy Deflection. Finally, on damage, we open with some range combat expert. That's it for damage. He also got 6 range on a single target, so yeah, not too shabby. Next, we've got the Living Laser. Living Laser here comes in at 75 points, like all the rest so far. He has the Batrox Brigade, Frightful Four, Lethal Legion, Modox 11, Minions, Masters of Evil, and Scientist keywords, as well as improved targeting North hindering terrain. He also has 2 traits. First off, we have Absorption or Amplification. When Living Laser is missed by an attack, give him an Absorption token. As a free action, remove an Absorption token to choose one. Regeneration at no cost, or Range Combat Expert at no cost. Okay, alright. Then we have his Frightful Four trait, Blinded by the Light. Opposing characters modify attack -1 while making a range attack that targets one or more friendly characters with the Frightful Four keyword. Okay. And with his improved targeting, he ignores stealth. Shane doesn't pass that along to his teammates, though. However, a lot of them aren't all that dependent upon range, so, well, I'd say about 50-50. Looking at his dial, we get some hypersonic speed, couple of clicks of running shots, some phasing, back to hypersonic speed at the end there. Precision strike, penetrating psychic blast, pulse wave, back to precision. Inertial deflection followed by super senses. Shape change, which gives you enhancement, and then back to shape change. Not a bad dial. Definitely one to consider utilizing. Next up, we've got Sandman. Also coming in at 75 points, and with the Minions of Doom team ability. Sandman here has the Frightful Four and Sinister Syndicate keywords, as well as improved movement or hindering terrain. His Frightful Four trait is called Doom Sandstorm. Opposing characters modify damage -1. It's a unique modifier. Opposing characters modify damage -1 when making a close attack to target their friendly character with the Frightful Four keyword. Now, it should be noted, Hydra Man, whom I don't yet have, has the range version of this. Looking at Sandman's dial, we open up some charge, followed by some sidestep, followed by some shape change. On attacker, we got a special power Sandblast, giving him Quake and Smoke Cloud. When Sandman uses Smoke Cloud, after resolutions, he can use Quake at no cost, but may also target any opposing characters occupying or adjacent to his hindering markers, regardless of adjacency. And you can see he's got 4 range. So, potentially speaking, he can be very useful in that respect. I mean, he can do a massive Quake, and he can hit a lot of people with it. Yeah, looking at his, oh yeah, we got some, after the Sandblast, we get some Pulse Wave. Then on defense, we got some Impervious, followed by Vulnerability, followed by Toughness. A long block of Shape Change on damage, and then finally some Exploit Weakness near the end on damage as well. Next up, we've got the Wizard. Now, you may remember we took a brief look at the Wizard a couple weeks ago when we were looking at the Build the New Fantastic Four, or Form the New Fantastic Four trait. That's because the Wizard has amongst his traits Form the New Frightful Four, which we'll get to in a second. The Wizard comes in at 75 points, has the Minions of Doom team ability as well as the Frightful Four, Intelligentsia, and Scientist keywords. So form the new Frightful Four. At the beginning of the game, you may replace up to 4 friendly characters with the same number of characters from your sideline on their starting clicks. All replacement and replaced characters must have the Frightful Four keyword and different names. The total points of replacement characters can't exceed the total points of the replaced characters. Okay. Then we've got, for his Frightful Four trait, Frightful Four. You meddling fools are no match for my intellect. Friendly characters with the Frightful Four keyword within range and line of fire have protected outwit. And just to understand, he's got 7 range. So yeah. Looking at his dial, we open up some Running Shot, followed by some Sidestep, followed by some Mind Control. On attack, we open up some Precision Strike, which is followed by Telekinesis. Defensively speaking, we start off with some Toughness, which gives it inertial deflection. On damage, we open up with a special power, Intellect to Spare, which grants the Wizard Leadership, Outwit, and Perplex. When he uses Leadership on a result of 4, choose Outwit or Perplex. This turn, Wizard can use the chosen power twice. That then gives way to some Ranged Combat Expert, and finally just some regular Perplex. So not too shabby at all. In fact, he is definitely someone that should be on every Frightful Four team. Anyway, now we're moving on. We got the last of the characters that I've pulled with the Frightful Four. I have a Frightful Four trait. Dragon Man. So Dragon Man here comes in at either 120 points or 75 points. He has the Circuits of Crime, Enforcers, Frightful Four, Negative Zone, Monster, Mystical, and Robot keywords, as well as the trait Frightful Four, Property Damage. Friendly characters with the Frightful Four keyword have free, if this character is adjacent to a printed square blocking terrain, generate a light object. Okay, alright. Looking at his dial, we open up with a couple. On the 120 starting line, we open up with some Running Shot. On the 75 starting line, we open up with some Charge, which then gives way to Sidestep and then Flurry at the end there. On attack, we open up at 120 points with the special power Mystical Breath and more, granting Dragon Man Energy Explosion, Penetrating Psychic Blast, and Super Strength, which then gives way to Quake, then back to Mystical Breath and more. Then we get some end dial Blaze Claw's Fangs. As you can see on defense, he's got Indomitable. Power-wise, we open up with some Invincible, followed by Impervious, followed by Invulnerability, followed by the special defense power, Recharge the Batteries. Invulnerability, free. Heal Dragon Man equal to the number of adjacent squares of printed blocking terrain, then destroy that terrain. Okay. Then on damage, both of his powers are mid-dial. A couple clicks of Exploit Weakness, followed by a couple clicks of Close Combat Expert. Well, mid-dial, if you start at 120 points, top dial if you started at 75 points. Now we got two other members of the Frightful Four that don't have the trait, but are both potentially very useful. First off, one is extremely useful, the Super Skrull. First off, let's just take a moment to appreciate this sculpt. Seriously, they did an amazing job. So Super Skrull comes in at either 100 points, 75 points, or 50 points, has the Skrull team ability. The Skrull team ability grants shape change, but only succeeds on 6. If the character can already use shape change instead, increase the result of the shape change roll by +1. So, him and Medusa on a Frightful Four team, well, he's always got shape change then. Keyword wise, you got Frightful Four, Skrulls, Cosmic Soldier, and Warrior keywords. Trait wise, he has this: the powers of the Fantastic Four. At the beginning of your turn, choose 2. Super Skrull has the listed effects until your next turn. Invisible Woman, sidestep, stealth, barrier is free but only generate 1 marker. The Thing, charge, impervious, close combat expert. Okay. Mr. Fantastic, plasticity, super senses, giant reach of 4. And Human Torch, running shot, energy explosion, range of 6. So, taking a quick look at his dial, he doesn't get anything on speed until the very end, where he gets a couple with mind control. All of his attack powers are built into his powers of the Fantastic Four trait. Get a full dial of toughness, which can be again added to with the powers of the Fantastic Four trait. And we got 3 clicks of shape change. He's also got Indomitable on defense, which is very good because, you know, willpower. And all in all, he's actually he's probably one of the more sought after figures from the set, just because of the possibilities. I mean, give him pick the Thing and Mr. Fantastic, especially at top dial. Move 5 squares, then you can attack up to 4 squares away from there. You've basically got full move threat range on a close attack, on a charge. And of course, Invisible Woman's stealth is very useful. Yeah, all is extraordinarily useful, so yeah. Finally, we've got Blastar. Now, I want to take a quick moment to say I'm fairly certain, though I don't know the exact issue in question, but I'm fairly certain that this Blastar sculpt was based off of a John Romita Jr. drawing of Blastar. It just, everything about it just screams John Romita Jr. I could be wrong, but hey, I don't think I am in this case. So Blastar comes in at 150 points or 75 points. He's got Power Cosmic, as well as the Frightful Four, Negative Zone, Cosmic, Ruler, Warrior keywords, and Improved Targeting. May make range attacks out of adjacency, including to target adjacent opposing characters. And we also have a trait, the Forceful Ruler of Balur, granting Blastar Force Blast and Super Strength. Now, looking at Blastar's dial, we open up the special speed power, Concussive Blast Fight. Grants him charge, running shot, free, make a close attack. Then we get some mid-dial plane running shot, then back to Concussive Force Fight, or Concussive Blast Fight. On attack, we open the special power, the Living Bomb Burst, which grants Blastar Energy Explosion. When he uses it, the characters Blastar originally targeted are dealt penetrating damage. Then we have a few clicks of Pulse Wave as well, which has some more Living Bomb Burst clicks. Defensively speaking, since he's got Power Cosmic, he's got Indomitable, basically. Gets some Impervious, followed by Vulnerability, followed by Toughness. And on damage, we have Leadership for a few clicks. Not too shabby. Now, there are 2 members of the Frightful Four from the FF set we are missing. Hydro Man, who, like I said, does the exact same thing as that Sandman does, just for range attacks rather than close attacks. And then there's the Uncommon Prime Punisher, which is a former Herald of Galactus. And what this one does is makes it so that friendly figures with the Frightful Four keyword deal penetrating damage to opposing characters with 2 action tokens. So, yeah, making a team, a Frightful Four team. Obviously, we'll start off with the Wizard. For that, so we can potentially use his form the new Frightful Four. Then we'll add in Medusa to grant members all shape change. Now this will be for we're going to start this off for a 300-point build. So, honestly, Trapster, he can definitely be useful. And Claw to grant inertial deflection to everybody. So we're granting inertial deflection. We're granting shape change, protected outwit. And we're potentially modifying defenses by -1. If you were going to add to this, probably go with Living Laser, Thundra, and if I had Hydro Man, it would probably be Hydro Man and Sandman. But otherwise, I think we'll go add Blastar, make it a 600-point team. For a 400-point build, start with those 4. Added Super Skrull. The odd one out is in all honesty Dragon Man, because I would prefer to start him at 120 points because he's pretty good at 120 points. Oh, that's Quake he's got, not Pulse Wave. But yeah, I just feel like he wouldn't do. Starting him at 75 points would take away a bit of his usefulness, so yeah. Likely Blastar would never really be considered for a Frightful Four team, just because of the points. Though if there's a limit on figures, well, then he might get a consideration. I just wish we had more negative zone generics that he could lead into battle. But honestly, Sandman, Living Laser, She-Thing, Thundra, if I had him, Hydro Man would all be on the sideline to potentially be pulled in by the Wizard, though we'd have to see who in exchange for who. But anyway, that is it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.